This week's show is brought to you by nobody, because nobody knows who Jeskid is. But soon that will change. So the topic of this week's show is I'm flawed, so what? Or so the fuck what, depending on your perspective. Yes, have I cursed in the first 2 seconds of my podcast? Is that illegal? You, okay? That's what I gotta say.
I forgot we had that.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't use it. I'm stupid. Redneck, okay? Stop talking. I'm introing the show. So it's all of this show is about being flawed and what are your flaws? And I'm going to tell you some of mine. And I'm here with Redneck Rebel, and he's going to tell you some of his. Right, Redneck?
I sure will.
Fantastic. So, what is this? The intro to the show? What is this? It's the Jeskidding show, where sometimes I say shit that I don't mean, or sometimes I say better, right? More family friendly. I put it in the title. That I don't mean. And I say after, oh, I was just kidding. Just kidding. See? Da-da-da. And then sometimes I say something that may make you think, and then you're like, just kidding. And you're like, wow, that's amazing. I love you, Jess. But anyway, this is broadcast live on Twitch. People from the Twitch chat room may be invited actually into this episode. I have not decided. The live audience may come in and hang out with us today, Redneck Rebel. Would you like that?
I would think it is a really good idea if we put a live microphone on Broken Pigeon right now.
Oh, Broken Pigeon is a person in our chat room right now, so you don't think it's an actual broken pigeon that's flopping around outside my window. We've had those. And has told us that she's quite drunk. So we may get her in here to expose some of her flaws. Not expose anything else. This is a family-friendly show. Yeah. So
you may want to have the beat button ready.
Right. Yeah. Well, the beat button. It's a beatbox, right? Yeah. All right. Anyway, so we're here to talk about flaws, right? And everybody has them. We know, right? I have them. Do you got them, Redneck?
I've got plenty, just like anyone else.
I can't wait. So we're going to talk about flaws. What are some of mine? What are some of yours? We're going to get flaws in the chat room. Are they all weaknesses? Are some of them strengths? I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing half the time. That's one of my flaws. See how I did that? I made what could have been. Anyway, moving on. So I'm just going to start this off. I'm going to list some of my flaws, and we're going to start from here. And we're going to come back. And I'm sure along the way, I'm going to discover what a lot of my flaws are. Right? I'm gonna be able to find more flaws that I didn't even know I had. And maybe there are flaws in me that you notice, and you'll tell me, and then I'll cry myself to sleep, because one of my flaws is I take things too seriously and I'm too sensitive. So, so this could be like a tunnel of flawology. You understand? You know what I'm going with this, Red?
Flawology? Is that a technical term?
It's a study in your own flaws and other people's flaws. Okay, so what are my flaws? I'm gonna list some, and I'm gonna go into in depth my flawage. Okay, number one, we've covered this in another episode. I procrastinate. This is known. I don't mean to. I even putting off things. That's how much I procrastinate. Number two, I'm gonna list like three, and then I'm gonna let you go. I'm too nice. Sometimes I do things for people that don't deserve them. I'm just too nice. It's a flaw. It can also be a strength because I'm a nice guy. We're going to come back to that too. I have, number three, I have foot-mouth disease. And like the worst kind. Like I say dumb shit all the time. Because A, I like to see people respond. B, I think it's funny to do something a little off-putting. C, I didn't mean it. And then I backtrack it. Even now I'm backtracking that. So yeah, I get myself in trouble all the time. There was an ex-girlfriend of mine who used to do this signal like she was digging a ditch. Oh, it's not her. It was my friend. Whenever I would talk to her, she'd be like, you're digging yourself a grave. But there's something about that moment then that once I've created that awkwardness by foot-mouth disease, I like to live in it. And that's kind of weird. Don't you think, Redneck?
You're like leg up to your knees and mouth.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, exactly. Full knee in my mouth. And I'm like, I'm sorry. And then in today's internet culture, I'm like, because one of my flaws is to have foot-mouth disease. I'm like, you can't have foot-mouth disease in today's internet culture, which ties into another one of my flaws that we're going to come back to. But if you have foot-mouth disease in today's culture, like that shit can come back. And then be like, oh, but you said this thing 17 years ago. Well, no fucking shit. I got foot-mouth disease. It's clinical. It's not my fault. You can't blame me for saying some dumb shit when I chronically say dumb shit. So I think that foot mouth disease, we're going to talk about strengths for a second, can also, right? I have to laugh. Something-
Okay, like hold on.
Yeah, I'm gonna like.
I just got to take a minute here.
Can also have a strength, right? We're gonna go back to what made me laugh in a second. Can also have a strength because you say shit that makes people laugh, and then people like to be around you because you're wildly insane and inappropriate. Speaking of wildly insane and inappropriate, we broadcast this live to Twitch. We get comments in the middle of this, and I think it's Twink I Am. I think that's the name. Just randomly just wrote as a first saying, wasn't a hello, just said, redneck has a fat cock.
Well, I just want to take a minute
yes,
here
redneck,
to
please.
give a shout out here.
Shout out to the guy who wrote redneck has a fat cock. I don't know.
And also to Holbrook, thank you for coming and watching, man.
Yes,
thank you for saying I roll. And thank you, Twinkie, for saying I have a fat cock.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for that. I like to refer to it as redneck has a fucking gigantic, it's whatever that is. So foot mouth disease continues. Okay, Red, let's pass it over to you. What are some of your flaws?
I guess to name a few. I overthink things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very, very bad about like overthinking situations or like overanalyzing maybe things that people say or do to the point to where it just is silly. and I'm like kind of with you too on the like. Sometimes I feel like maybe I'm too nice to people.
Right.
Like you ever just had like somebody you just know doesn't have your best interest at heart, but like you kind of just pretend like you don't know or give like fourth, fifth, and sixth chances. I do that.
Well, don't you think that's where foot mouth disease can come in handy? One of my flaws, right? Where I'm also too nice to people, but then like. At that moment with that person, I'm like, yeah, but I hope your mom dies in a fiery car crash. Now, you don't mean it, right? But you feel it, and it just came out. And then you're like...
It's word vomit.
It's word vomit. But it counteracts the being too nice. So therefore, one of my flaws becomes a very interesting weapon when somebody's taking advantage of my too niceness. Please continue.
Yeah, I can relate some on that. I just a lot of times, you just like get people that, I don't know, like I always try to see the very best in everyone. I don't know if it's exactly a flaw, but like sometimes it definitely works against me. Like I just want to see the best in everything and everyone.
But don't you think that's a good way to lead into something? Like to try to see the best in somebody to start with and just to be gradually disappointed after that?
Yeah, I would agree.
Back to foot mouth disease. Somebody in the chat room, I have this quote system in there where people bring up quotes of things I supposedly said at some point in time, right? Which I may never have said. I'm just denying it, unless there's video evidence, which there might be. Somebody brought up a quote and it said, "I'm like the Mystery Science Theater of AIDS." Would I say that, bro? Would I foot mouth myself that badly, redneck?
No comment.
Bro, I thought you were too nice. A nice guy lies for friends, right? Maybe one of your fucking flaws is you've always got to tell the truth. You're like the fucking Pinocchio of truth teller liars. I don't know which one made his nose grow. Who knows?
But what grows on me when I tell the truth?
Oh, God. No, God. We're good. We're good.
No comment, sir?
Yeah, no comment at all. Okay, so let's get back to more. I'll go to a couple of my flaws, then we'll go back to your flaws. Then we'll go to the chat room flaws. There'll be a day of flaws. Because we're all flawed, and this is going to be a cathartic, it's a flaw-a-thon. That's a word. All right, so I wrote down also, I worry too much. I do. I worry constantly about everything. I don't know if it's a genetic thing, a cultural thing, like somewhere in the fucking past, my tribe was like, oh, that lion got you, or got your uncle, and I'm like, oh, fuck, that lion's going to get me. Every day, all I think about is that lion. Or then it comes down to dumb shit. Where I'm just like, I'm worried that the egg, I didn't cook an egg because I don't know how to cook anything, but I'm assuming if I cooked a fucking egg, that the egg I cooked would be undercooked and everybody would hate me and that would be the end of my life. I catastrophize. That's another one of my flaws. I take everything and make it the end of the fucking world. Like if I got 18 viewers instead of 17, I'd be thrilled. If I got 16 instead of 17, I'd be like, that's the end of my life. That's a flaw. Back to you, redneck.
Yeah. Just like touching on like I overanalyze things, so like that's what made me think of that because it's kind of similar, right? It's like somebody can like say something to me and it means nothing at all, and then I'll be laying, or like I'll have an interaction with somebody, and then like in the moment, it's like you don't see anything wrong with what you said or how that went, and then you're laying in bed, and then it's like, oh my God, was that stupid? I hope they didn't take that the wrong way.
So you I have on my thing, I overanalyze, right? So you retroactively overanalyze things that you did throughout your day.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like if you have interactions with people, like especially if you hardly know them, because you like everything you say is like an initial impression, right? Like first impression is the most important, they say. So it's like if you look at somebody and you make some really like offhand, like dumb comment, that person might think you're dumb for the rest of your life. It's just like sometimes, like if you think, like even with you, like just to use you as an example, like maybe sometimes like somebody clicks on your stream and you say something, they're like, "Whoa, what this guy?"
Yeah, what's wrong with that fucking guy? Yeah, so what do you do about that? Because I stream every day for new people, and I say all kinds of dumb shit. Oh, let me go to the chat. I'm going to go to the chat room really quick, back and forth. We'll do this all day. So somebody in the chat room said, and because they can visibly see me if you're just listening to this, I'm seeing Jess's leg shake. Worrying? Yes, because I do the exact same thing. Right? And then somebody else said, Mike, I was thinking the same damn thing. So now, right, one of my flaws that they've tapped into, I drink too much coffee. I also eat too much chocolate. But both of those can be strengths, too, because we're going to turn all this down. I'm going to list the same flaws later and turn them into strengths. So then I say one of my flaws is I change for other people. I stop shaking my leg because they pointed out. Because another one of my flaws is I'm not self-aware. I'm obviously not that at all. I'm not grandizing. Well, kind of. I'm not insecure. One of those things where I just stopped doing the thing because somebody was, what do you call it when somebody's looking at you and then you change the behavior because they were looking at you? Come on, redneck. Use your fucking big words, asshole.
I don't know,
Sorry,
man.
use your big words, please.
I just work here, man.
I'm self-conscious. I'm self-fucking conscious, bro. Where were you? This was the fucking moment where I was on How to Be a Millionaire or some shit, and I called a friend for the lifeline, and you failed me. You failed me, bro. That's one of my flaws, is counting on people to be there for me when I need them to be. It's one of my flaws, right? And apparently one of your flaws is not fucking being there when I need you to be there, redneck. Asshole.
I know.
Right?
That's one of my flaws. I'm a terrible friend. I'm never there.
At this moment, it's a fucking flaw. But it'll pass, because one of my flaws is I'm too self-forgiving. Wait, no, I'm forgiving of others too quickly. That's it. Self-forgiving, I'm not at all. That's a flaw too. Right? So, let's get back to you. Give me some flaws. Then we'll go to the chat room for flaws. Flaw it up, baby. Get on the hold on. Get on the dance floor. See how I did that? See that?
You're like you're at the right age for the dad jokes. And that's a total dad joke.
Oh, that's just your flaw right now is being very disrespectful. You're a very disrespectful young man. That's a flaw.
I feel like we're like having this big passive aggressive argument.
What's we have passive aggressive?
Well, you know what your flaw is?
We're acknowledging each other's flaws. This is the conversation today. It's a flaw-thon. It's a dance flaw. It's a flaw thing. We're talking about flaws here on the stream today. This is what we're doing. You know? Okay,
that's right.
Please continue. You tell me your flaws, and then we can quit. I told you this is gonna be a very. One of my flaws is I'm too accusatory, at least in my own brain, and I'm doing it out loud now because you're here with me, my friend, redneck rebel. Please tell me some of your flaws. Flow it up.
I guess one of my flaws too is
they call you Flow Rider. All right, please continue.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, bro. One of my flaws is I interrupt people, so that's a given.
We should maybe rename this the roast of Jeskid.
What? Please continue. Go back to your flaws. Yeah, please. I don't need to. Please.
I would say I'm definitely very critical of myself as well, and meaning that it's like if I feel like it's like, oh, I should have done better, or I could have done better, or anything such as like, I mean, it's like I'm always like, it's kind of like on the fence of like flaw and not flaw, because like if you're constantly like pushing yourself and like very honest with yourself about what you're doing, it's like it pushes you to like bigger things like greatness. But at the same time, it can also like drive you crazy.
In a way,
so there's like a balance.
is there like a freezing effect? Because that happens to me. I fucking freeze. I'm so critical of my own flaws, or I'm so flawed about those flaws, I freeze up sometimes. Does that happen to you?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you have?
And I think it's part of like an anxiety too, because
I agree. I have anxiety too. I think we agree on this. Chat room, I think we can agree on this too. Do you happen to live in Florida?
For God's sakes, man. You just. Yeah, I kind of feel like almost you didn't listen to what I said. You were thinking of the next joke.
One of my flaws.
One of your flaws.
One of my flaws is that while people talk to me, I just think of my own shit because I don't really listen to what they're actually saying. That's one of my flaws. But I fully acknowledge it. Because not only do I not listen, but I have foot-mouth disease after the fact that I didn't listen. So I'll go back to my flaws unless you have more that you've wrote down. We wrote these down today.
These were kind of the main ones that that I could think of, things that I deal with like all the time. The anxiety probably being
me too. I have that
biggest one.
Yeah,
but I think it like the anxiety
moment.
fuels the like flaws in a way. Because like if you have this thing that you think about like being overly like you overthink or you're overcritical, so it's like the anxiety kind of fuels that to a point to where it's like, like I say, when I have an interaction with somebody and it's like, oh my God, and it's like weird because in the moment, like I never think about it. Like it's like everything's fine. And then it's always like when I'm sitting like cooking dinner or something random and I'm like, God, that thing I said to that guy today.
You do that too? I do that too. Like I'll have like a 2-hour conversation with him or her, right? Or we or they or whatever fucking pronoun is out there. Foot-mouth disease, you know this. And like I'll pick out the one thing I said out of that 2-hour conversation. Even if we left on great terms, it was a great time. Like, oh my God, I said this, and they fucking hate me. You feel that way?
Yeah, it's like you didn't like the whole conversation was fine and everybody was nice.
Everybody's
and
happy.
Like ended well, but like you said that one thing that they probably aren't even thinking about or never think about again. But like you sit there and you ponder and you're like, I hope that they didn't take that the wrong way. Or
usually, I've apologized for those things in the past, and they'll be like, "Oh, dude, it's cool. What are you even talking about? Or you're crazy." But then when you over apologize, which is one of my flaws,
also mine,
right? Fair enough, right? When you over apologize for it, then it gets weird. Then your flaw, which wasn't a flaw, actually becomes a fucking crater of a flaw. Like you actually made a problem because you made awkward. Like if I had a baby, I might have to name it awkward. You know what I'm saying? Because I birthed that motherfucker many times in conversations. Anyway, please continue. So let's. I have a couple others, and then we're gonna see if are any of these are strengths, and then we're gonna go to the chat room to talk about these flaws, right? Which is okay to have flaws, right? It is. It's good actually. Let's okay. Say, I'm insecure. Oh, who would have guessed that? Would you have guessed that I could be insecure, Redneck Rebel?
I mean, with as beautiful and as talented and as charismatic as you are, that is actually just unbelievable.
Wow. Wow. You may regret having said that to me later, because that's one of your flaws. Oh, my God. So, Spam Man in the chat room says, I apologize so much, I might as well be Canadian. Yeah, that's a flaw. And I'm just talking about being Canadian, not the apology part. I'm just kidding. See, that's foot-mouth disease. All right, so back to my list, which is long. My list is like 400 things long. Because in one of my things, like in yours, I overanalyze. Is part of one of my flaws, so I made a long list, which will not make you suffer through today, right? I'm insecure. We covered that. This is known. This is obvious. That's why I'm so artistic. But we'll get to that. I try and control things that I have zero control over, mentally, right? So if I have some event in the world that I'm waiting on or some opportunity, my brain will try to exert some Jedi-like fucking power over it to make it real. And I'm not talking like I'm going to show up at your house and stalk you and you have to call the cops kind of thing. But I'm talking about like I'm waiting for some opportunity, and if I just wish it to be enough, it'll happen. And I don't think I consciously do it, but I know I do it because I feel like so powerless sometimes. This is kind of deep. We're going to have a deep moment. Music. I feel powerless in the world. I don't know why I felt the need to put that thing on. And so therefore I exert some sort of weird control that just in the end makes me feel bad because I didn't control it at all. And if I could just accept that, I'd be a happier person. What about you?
Yeah, I'm starting to find out that we share a lot of the same.
Yeah, we're sick in the same ways. Yeah, we're sick in the same ways. This is good.
Anxiety being the big thing. It's like, because a lot of people with anxiety kind of go through similar things where it's like, and it's really hard to explain to people, because like you'll tell somebody that like you have all these anxieties about social situations or like, like even. Even when I first came on this podcast, I had a lot of anxiety about it.
I had a lot. Wait, hold on. Wait, I just want to tell you, I had a lot of anxiety about you being on the podcast as well.
I don't know what you mean by that. Is that an insult?
No, it's please continue.
I mean, I have now been on more episodes of Jeskidding than everyone but you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And this is what it's doing is it's building your confidence. I hope it's giving you practice to be a spokesman for a garbage Twitch channel in the future.
It's always something that I've wanted to do is like podcasting and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
and you've come to a professional who's a liar about his own sense of self. That's one of my flaws.
It's like you can be on camera and say all the really stupid and awkward things, and it puts the heat on you, and then I can kind of get myself over on it.
I think that's going to be one of the things you feel bad about saying later, because I think that was a little cruel. I'm feeling like that's a little cruel. So one of my flaws is I put too much guilt on people. I just did it.
Yeah. See, now I'm overanalyzing what you said because I thought, is he serious?
That's okay.
Did I really offend him?
That's okay. I'm worried about the fact that you're overanalyzing it, but I'm too nice and too much of a procrastinator to tell you.
That's one of your flaws.
It is. It's actually multiple ones packaged up into a total thing. Yes, I guilt trip the shit out of people. I don't mean to. One of my flaws is I can be mildly passive aggressive. Mildly. Right? Come on, back me up, bro.
Mildly.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so other ones of mine are I'm too impulsive. I'm way too impulsive. I'm like, see a bird, chase a bird. Bet on a horse? Okay. That seems like a good idea. Let's go. Let's fucking go. What about you? Are you impulsive? Are you logical to a fault?
Yeah. I mean, I would like to think that, I look at things and kind of like I try to always take a logical stance in like every situation. Like, it's like, do I have a right to be upset or do these people treat me wrong? Overanalyzing. Well.
So, two things in the chat room. I kind of heard you, but I'll pretend like I did more than I did.
Oh my God.
Okay, I know.
What are we doing right now?
That's not my fault. That's not my fault. Somebody in the chat room said something, and I needed to say something back. So, could you repeat that really quickly, and then I'm going to read the chat room. I'm so sorry. I apologize. One of my faults is I apologize too much, but one of my other faults is I interrupt people and don't listen. So I'm not sure which one was at play there. So please repeat that.
We can just go to the chat room.
Okay, fair enough. And we're going to the chat room, ladies and gentlemen. I'm an asshole. I should have bleeped that part, but I bleeped it before.
Yeah, you forgot to bleep the second.
Shit. Right? Okay. So, as far as being impulsive, somebody said something about, especially in B&H. That's just cruel. So B&H is a camera superstore that I go to, and it's drugs. It's crack for me. Because you see these nice headphones, this microphone, this fucking crazy setup. I have a crazy setup in my apartment. I can't help but spend money on equipment. It's a sickness. Like, women buy shoes. Not all women. Foot and mouth disease. I'm excused. I'm excusing myself. But in my case, I buy electronics. Hard drives. And I think one of my flaws is I think everything I buy is going to make my life better. Sometimes it does. But usually it's just another thing that I have. So I'll have extra microphones, extra cameras, extra shoes, high heels, etc. So B&H is a major flaw. Another one of mine is, this is going to be a hard one for me to admit. I'm going to admit this to the chat room right now. I am a logical man living in a drama queen's body. How do you feel about that?
So you're saying that you know that how you act is wrong, but you impulsively act a certain way anyways, out of your control.
I don't know how I feel about what you just said. Because the drama queen part of me is kicking in.
I'm just trying to analyze.
No, drama's a good thing. It's a good thing, right? Okay. Last thing, I'm going to skip over this section because it's going to make me feel bad. One of my flaws is I feel too bad about too many things. I refuse to accept things that I don't want to believe. That's a flaw. So if I believe I'm going to be successful in the entertainment industry, I refuse to accept that I won't be. Ever. If I believe that somebody can't kick my ass or thinks they can kick my ass, but I feel like I have a fighting chance, I refuse to believe that I have no fighting chance, even though I probably will get my ass kicked. I refuse. And I think that, well, what do you think of like the sort of the will to get by, even though you ain't got maybe the talent or the skill or the looks to do it? Like, I believe I can be as popular as a really good-looking girl on Twitch, but I'll never be that good-looking girl. Is that denial? What do you think, Redneck?
I guess it depends on like what you're basing that off of. Like if it's like a beauty contest, maybe you're not as pretty as other people.
What?
I mean, like you can still make it with your charisma and your entertainment and things like that.
But be careful.
What this is a very loaded question and hard to answer. I'm gonna go ahead and give that one to Mr. Dosick in the chat.
He said, Mr. Dosick in the chat said, "Abort, Redneck, abort." Right? They could feel my my worrying, my paranoia, my freezing, my insecurity rising. All of my flaws are being activated. You were triggering me, bro. I was being triggered, and I don't mean
I'm
it like.
starting to get frightened to speak on this microphone.
You should not. You're amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. Amazing. When I say triggered, I don't mean it like a fucking like a political correct triggered. I meant like a horse, like literally like, like kind of thing, like. Because one of my flaws is I think I'm a dancing pony sometimes, but that's a totally different list. We don't have to go over that today. So
a dancing pony.
Don't worry about what I'm doing, okay? Don't worry.
All right.
One of your flaws is being obviously too much in my business at the moment. All right.
I care too much.
Right. So I also want to talk, and we're going to cover this, and we're going to go to the chat room. And those that do wish to be on this podcast, let me know in the chat, and I will maybe bring you in for some audio for some little bit of fun. Don't be shy, right? And don't be afraid to have your feelings massaged. I'm not going to say hurt. I'm going to say jerked. I'm going to jerk off your feelings right now on the podcast.
Oh, my gosh. You can't believe you just said that.
I said feelings, nothing else. Foot-mouth disease.
Right, yes.
Yes. So, can flaws be strengths, right? I think they can, right? So, sometimes, I'm going to list the same flaws I did before, and I want you to do the same with me, Redneck Rebel. I procrastinate, right? Well, sometimes I get amazing things done and come up with great ideas while I'm procrastinating. Sometimes I'm too nice, but then the person remembers how nice I was, and I build up like friendship equity and all this other good shit in the world, and that comes back to me in the karmic sense of just like people remembering how nice I was. Sometimes I have foot-mouth disease, and I say shit that's mildly inappropriate, and people remember me as being the funniest guy they ever met. So these are some of the strengths. I worry too much. Well, sometimes that shit's avoid me from fucking getting eaten by a tiger. Sometimes I can be too paranoid, but that shit saves me when other motherfuckers run into the fire and I don't want to burn. Okay, your turn. Now turn some of your things into strengths. Please.
I think that
listen. I don't.
You're hard to follow up.
Yeah, I don't do drugs. So just let it be known. So anybody here that thinks like this guy's coked up or like no, look at my pupils, they're good, like I'm cool, I'm just like this, I drink too much coffee, there's this evidence. Why was my leg shaking? Starbucks. That's a drug, actually. Please continue.
I actually think it is technically.
It kind of is a little bit. So turn some of your flaws right into strengths, and how can they serve you?
Like my flaw of being overly critical, I think allows me to have a really good perspective on just where I'm at. Like like my training is probably the best example I can think of. I'm like overly critical. It's like, I need to stick to this diet, or I need to push harder than this, or I've got more in me, or like I could have done more today, or anything like that. It's like that stuff keeps me very, very motivated in a way and driven because I'm always thinking about, what's next, or, it's like kind of in a way makes me give everything that I have all the time, because if I give any less, then I'm critical of myself for that.
Would you say that perfectionism is both a flaw and an asset? I think it is. I have the same thing.
Yeah, it's a flaw and an asset, because if you're not somewhat of a perfectionist and not critical of yourself, it's hard to have any growth with that kind of mindset.
Agreed. So do you feel like some of these things that we may consider flaws are just maybe personality traits?
Yeah, it could be. I guess it just kind of depends on like your perspective of that.
So what determines a flaw? Like, what would you say? What is a flaw?
A flaw is something that would hold you back from, maybe a goal, or, maybe any kind of growth in your life. Maybe something like that would be that's what I would consider a flaw to me. It's like if it prevents me from getting to where I want to go or enjoying myself, anything like that, it's a flaw. So like everybody has these flaws, and I think it's really important to not be too hard on yourself or anything like that, because everybody has a list of things that it's just like ingrained and baked into them as a being, and like you just have to find some way to channel that in a way that's positive. Just like I was saying with the overly critical, like I'm just going to be that way the rest of my life, but that doesn't mean that I can't find some way to channel that and use that for growth.
Yeah, I'm all about that, like the channeling of things that make me weaker into things that make me strong. Like the fact that I procrastinate sometimes is I build up energy and then I explode into something, and that comes from embracing the fact that I do it, embracing the angst that I feel while I'm doing it, and embracing the energy that I have to go forward. Just really quickly, chat room stuff. Somebody named Stinky Bean Boy said hi, sir. So anytime somebody named Stinky Bean Boy says hello, one of my flaws is I have to respond because it's Stinky Bean Boy. You know what I'm saying? Chat room. Anybody that wants to be in the stream, right? Join the voice chat section of the Discord. I'm going to put a link to the Discord. Join that, and I will pull people in from that. If you act inappropriate, you'll be pulled out. Have fun. Don't be a jerk. So join the voice chat thing, and I will drag you into the other thing. Oh, a couple people have joined it already. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have quite the squad today.
Oh, God, Broken Pigeon's in here. Hurry.
Broken Pigeon.
Before she changes her mind.
But understand that I will interrupt you. I will love you after. I will use foot-mouth disease in Kung Fu-like precision. So you have been warned. I love you. Okay, let us first bring in... We have 3 people in there, right? I think we bring in Broken Pigeon first. Ladies and gentlemen, Broken Pigeon is in the Discord. Hello, Broken Pigeon. How are you today?
Oh boy, this is going to be an interesting podcast.
It is. You're drunk. Are you? Broken Pigeon is drunk, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not that drunk. I've had 2 drinks, but as usual, I'm a baked cracker right now. It's bad.
A baked cracker. I don't know if that's racist. I don't know if that's delicious. I don't really know if it's salty. Is it full of gluten? What is a baked cracker?
No, it is not full of gluten. For the podcast, I can't have wheat. I can't have corn. It's not celiac. Man.
That's
it's
one of your flaws.
allergy.
That's a flaw.
Yeah.
You can't have wheat.
Terrible flaw.
That's a fucking flaw. You're
It is a
flawed.
gigantic
Flawed. Okay.
And
Oh, sorry, please. Foot mouth.
I used to be able to eat it. I used to. So I know what good cake tastes like, and that's just extremely upsetting to me.
I know what cake's like. Okay, so tell me, Broken Pigeon, right? Because obviously you're a pigeon that has been broken. Give me a quick list of your flaws so that we can analyze and help you get through them.
Oof. I don't know about getting through them.
Well,
but...
I said we'd help. I didn't say we'd be successful, right? We're just nice. That's one of our flaws. So let us just be who we are.
That's right.
Yeah, don't try to choke out of us while we jerk. Please continue.
We can't be like that. We can't be like that right now. Yes, Big B. Oh God.
So please continue. So what's your flaws? You're here you're live. This is fucking live.
Man,
I'm impatient. That's one of my flaws.
Yeah, I know you are. It's very obvious in the stream too. It's cute though. Like Like, I'm a nervous person. Like, right now, I'm fucking shaking in my boots.
Yeah, well, now you know why my leg was shaking on the stream before. You're like, oh, your leg's shaking. Well, you're fucking shaking too. Shake what your mama gave you.
Yeah, no, it's nerve-wracking. It's terrible. No, but I'm like you. I'm a very nice person, and I only developed that in the past couple of years. I used to be super mean just to impress people. That's my big flaw.
You were whoa.
Yeah, I'm a really mean person. Like, I'd make fun of people. I would be like, I would roast them and make them severely uncomfortable to the point that they want to leave. Like, I've done that multiple times, and it made me feel like shit, and I hated it.
So you did something that you regretted right after. Interesting. Interesting.
And it was just it was to impress people, man. I like to impress people. I like to know people like me. And that's a really big fucking flaw.
You like to know that people like you, right? And you felt the best way to get there, no judgment here, was to roast other people so that the people around you would like, oh, look how you dogged that person. Some shit.
Yeah. It was just because of the people I was hanging out with. And because I wasn't a social person. I didn't like talking to people.
And so did you felt really bad, like secretly, when you would go home? You'd be like, oh, I was such an asshole?
No, because they would glorify it so much. That's the worst part about it.
Whoa. And you'd feel bad about the glorification of it after.
It took about 3 years for me to actually let it sink in and realize,
So this is not a flaw. This is like a discovery of a major flaw and the fixing of a flaw. Wow. Okay.
And the past probably 2 years, I've been just full of positivity.
But
if I make you laugh, it makes me happy. I'll talk to you. I don't care if you're a stranger. If I see that like my mittens I'm wearing are the same color as your sweater, I will call you out and be like, I like your sweater. They're the same color as my mittens.
I promise you, my fucking sweater will never be the same color as your mittens. Right now. That's a fucking fact. All right. So that's great. You overcame that. Give me another flaw. Tell me what's wrong with you.
Jesus. I'm a narcissist, but I'm a self-conscious narcissist.
You're a self-narcissist.
Sure.
I just was combining words. I say one of my flaws is I always try to make people laugh. One of my flaws is I'm not always successful at it.
Exactly, but I'm the same way because you don't know if that person hasn't laughed at all that day.
That's right.
You could be the one moment.
I could be the one. I'm the Neo of making people laugh. So you're a narcissist, right? So you're self-obsessed with yourself, right?
Oh, yeah.
Do you post lots of pictures about yourself?
That's why I was so interested in the podcast you did a couple weeks ago about like Instagram and like I'm having more fun than you. And I was like, man, I feel that.
I'm also a narcissist, so please tell me more about me.
please, let's move on from you.
No. That's forget your flaws.
I need a break for a minute.
This whole podcast just got thrown out for let's talk about what's good about me. No, please continue. Go back. Okay, so you're a narcissist, right? What other flaws do you have?
But because I'm a self-conscious narcissist, I also have one of those inferiority complexes. So if someone makes me feel bad...
All narcissists have inferior complexes. Inferiority complexes. That's like...
It's terrible.
It's good that you realize it now, instead of 1,400 people pointing it out to you 10 years from now. You're like, you realize you're just being insecure, right? Oh, fuck. You know what I'm saying? Retroactive. Get in your fucking time machine, DeLorean, and go back and fix it. No, that's great. You're self-aware. That's a strength. I admire that in you.
I'm self-aware about it.
Yeah.
But one of my flaws is
yes,
I don't know how to deal with it.
Well, nobody knows how to deal with anybody. I'm telling you right now, it's not a flaw. Nobody knows how to deal. Please continue.
Someone's got to be able to figure it out. No one's going to be able to help me but me.
That costs money. Yeah. Therapy's good. What would you say? Is therapy good, Redneck Rebel?
I've never had to have official therapy, but
right.
I think it's really important to have people in your friend circle that understand you and are actually looking out for your best interest, because that can kind of be your therapy, or for me, the gym is my therapy. Find something you can have an outlet.
What is your therapy, Broken Pigeon?
Oh. Illegal things in most states.
Illegal things in most states. Oh, please do tell.
You know, it's kind of obvious in the fucking chat because I come in here stoned as hell every single day, and it's I agree with Plastic Savior in the chat though. Porn is, we're going to the not safe for work area of that, but sorry to interrupt my own sentence. There you go, the beep.
So, porn and drugs. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not a flaw. That's
But I don't do
that's a
anything
hobby,
hard, though.
and that's a big
That's
business
not
in
a
America.
hobby.
There's a stocks based around that shit. There's a lot of people making money off your flaws. So I don't know if those are flaws, much as morally ambiguous territory.
I agree with that. It's a gray area.
So just before we go to more flaws, I'm gonna bring in let's see who next. I'm gonna bring in Plastic next, and Mike, you'll be third. I'm gonna make this a foursome, and that's a flaw that I'm into foursomes. I'm not. All right.
Whoa.
Oh, what's up,
Is
Plastic
it technically
Savior?
not a foursome though? Wouldn't that be an orgy if it's more than 3?
I don't know. One of my flaws is
Let's not get
I don't understand sexual things.
Oof.
I don't want to know. So you don't want to know either.
Innuendos?
What's up, Plastic? How are you, dude? This is Steve, ladies and gentlemen. Steve, I'm giving his real name. Who gives a shit? One of my flaws is I expose people on
Don't
stream.
me.
Okay, so Steve, who lives in Alaska, what is one of your flaws?
Too many, for one.
You have too many flaws. So one of your flaws, you're like
Currently.
that fucking asshole that's like, the genie gives you 3 wishes, and your third wish is, I wish for more wishes. It's not how it works. Just
Not
give me
really. I
cons-
don't want these flaws.
That's fair. Give me some of your flaws. Tell me what's wrong with you, please.
PTSD.
Is that a flaw, though, or a...
No. PTSD is a gateway into some current flaws.
Fair enough. Okay, so you're
I
saying
have-
it's triggered your current flaws. So please continue.
I have extreme social anxiety, which makes it hard for me to make friends or talk to people I don't know.
Well, I'm happy that you're here,
Well, I know you. I've met you in person.
but you're broadcasting to a bunch of people you don't know.
I can't see them.
That's fair. I like this. It's kind of like the glory hole.
Right?
Oh my god! What?
It's like, okay, I don't know whose hand it is, but please keep it there.
Listen.
It's okay if you don't know whose mouth it is.
I don't care, but please keep going.
No, you keep going. It's your flaws. Don't talk about my glory hole flaws.
Anyway, so yeah, I've got the extreme social anxiety, depression. Quick backstory: 2016 was my low point.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
2016,
Shitty year.
I-
Shitty year.
I almost took my life.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, bro.
But thankfully, I do have a very good support system. You know, living at home with my parents. So
That's awesome. Well, I've met his father. Great guy. I'm happy that you're here now. I'll be serious for a second because it's always a serious moment. And I think you're a great dude with a lot to offer. And I'm glad you're here offering it with us. And there's not a single person out there who is sane that in some point in their life, some thought like that doesn't cross their mind, especially if you're a person that's kind or in touch with your heart and any of those things. So we're not going to go too heavy on this thing. And I don't fault you for that. I appreciate you for sharing that. Because I think
that
that's
was just backstory.
but that's a strength, is what I'm saying. Is I want to point out you just did a strength is you embrace the weak moment in your life as a platform for stronger moments on top of it. So please continue.
And think of it also, just to chime in, just think of it also as like your experiences are valuable and can be used to help other people that
100%.
are experiencing the
100%.
same things as you.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Because you can understand and relate to them. So
take
that's
for
really,
instance,
really important.
drunken pigeon or broken pigeon, whichever we've decided to call her today. The drugged out, porn addicted narcissist. She could use your experience. No, she's awesome. We're just joking. I'm just kidding. Ding. See, I did that.
It's all accurate, though.
No, it's not accurate. You're amazing. You're amazing. All right, Steve. So please back to your flaws. Give us some more.
I am too critical of myself. I much like Redneck, I overthink things way too much, and it leads to confusion. That confusion leads to frustration, which in turn leads to anger, and well, I turned into a very not pleasant person.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, look, and we all seem to share this, the overthinking of things. We all are guilty of like overanalyzation, and I think that people who are more self-critical are more self-aware, which means they're more troubled by being self-aware, but they're also more enlightened by being self-aware. So it's like a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a good thing that comes with some fucking penalty. Somebody in the chat room just said, I like the Nerf gun in the background. A little off topic, but I embrace
just a little
that because one of my flaws is to embrace little off topic things that make me happy. So thank you for the compliment. I put
Small tangent.
Yeah, too small tangents are one of my flaws, but one of my strengths.
Squirrel.
All right, so give me one more flaw, Steve, and then we're gonna bring somebody else into the chat room. We're gonna make it a 5-some. It's gonna be disgusting.
God.
It's gonna be fluids everywhere.
Okay, yeah,
Whoa.
massive flaw. Nothing I do is adequate.
Nothing you do is adequate.
Yeah, I'm not capable of doing anything.
But you're doing,
correct.
but I'd like to correct you, right, and say what you're doing right now is adequate. For
Thank you
me,
very much.
maybe not for you, maybe the way that you judge it, but the fact that you're here helping me entertain people, helping me enlighten people is extremely adequate and extremely appreciated. That's one thing that's not like I'm too nice. One of my non-flaws is I'm very appreciative of people. I see that as a total strength. And I think that
I'm also a very self-deprecating person. So.
Yeah, welcome to the fucking club. Yeah, this is self-deprecating club of the universe. Who could say that word?
Yeah.
If you could say that word, you're ahead of half the pack. Right? Self-deprecating.
Right.
It's fucking difficult.
Self-deprecating.
I have never heard Redneck Rebel use a word that's longer than fucking
2 syllables.
Yeah, exactly.
God,
I was gonna go
that was
3. I was gonna go 3, but I didn't want to be mean.
Well, that's
public schools
because
these days.
I graduated in the 4th grade.
That's right.
I just didn't go back because, who
You got
needs
your
to know how to
participation
read?
ribbon?
No, you don't need to. You don't need to.
Yeah,
So
they basically said, "Look, man, you're 18 and you've been here too long, so
Okay.
you gotta get out."
let's bring in Mike Dosick. He's coming into the chat. Mike Dosick, you're in the chat. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Mike Dosick, can you hear me? Speak up a little bit with your beautiful narration voice, dude.
Oh, okay. How's
There you
that?
go. Oh,
Any better?
amazing. I feel like I'm being spoken to by the next Spielberg-esque run to the pack. I don't know what to call you, dude. I'm just making
Welcome
words.
to the Jeskidding podcast.
It's pretty good. He's good, right? It's a
Wow,
strength.
yeah.
He's got a
That
good.
was
He's got a
clean.
good voice, right?
How hard are you?
So, okay, Mike, tell me some of your flaws, and we're not going down self-pity alley, right? And I'm saying because I live in self-pity alley, like I've got a fucking shanty town all built, erected with my name on top in self-pity alley, but we're not
I
there
don't
Down the
today.
speak for everyone when I say we are fully aware of this, but
Oh, that is just me. I was joking.
Wow.
I was joking. And now you've fucking activated 14 of my flaws. I do like being roasted. I think it's kind of fun. So please continue.
It is so
He
funny.
used,
You
he's
activated his
roasted
trap
me since
card.
he was 13 years old, and I don't mean that.
That's true.
I don't mean to say that I associated with 13-year-old boys, but he knew of my work and on and on. Anyway, moving on from that quickly. Right?
I'm sorry, the FBI's a show, Jess.
Not at all. So, okay, you were saying, Jerry. Your name's not Jerry. What the fuck can I call you, Jerry?
What the?
we've known each other since I was
Oh.
14, and you think my name is Jerry?
No. Your name's Jerry. I meant Jerry's kids, and you're like one of Jerry's Jeskid kids. No, it's my friend in the chat room said something, and my brain went to Jerry because I'm easily distracted. Fault plus strength, because if something dangerous is coming, I'm like, oh, I noticed it. Where you motherfuckers are too self-involved taking selfies. All right, so please continue, Mike. Tell us one of your flaws.
One thing I'd say is that I take things really personally, even if I logically know it's like I shouldn't take it personally, or if it was not even directed to me at all.
Hmm.
Like that's
I do that
something
too. I do that too.
Yeah.
Well, I've gotten better about it, but I'm very guilty about that. It's like I personalize even when things are bigger than me, that somehow, like if my fucking football team lost, that somehow it's my fault. No, maybe,
my gosh,
maybe
yes.
not. I know maybe that's a little too much, but I think that there's something tied in there where you sort of take on the world and you let it like fuck you up. You know what I mean? Like it's a weird
Yeah.
thing, but I think it's okay. It's normal.
Yeah, I think it's normal. It's just, but it's definitely, it can, especially when it's like, okay, so this is a kind of an interesting example, but like Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, and there's a lot of stuff on the internet right now
Yes.
because it's such a big game, and it's like, that's a very special game series to me. So like, even though, so like when I see reviews that aren't the nicest to it, or like
Mhm.
aren't looking at it super positively, because it's so important to me, I tend to take it more personally.
So you place
And-
your identity on other things, and that forces you to then take it personally when somebody doesn't like that thing that really isn't directly associated with you, but because you align yourself with it, you take it personally.
Yes, Dr. Jeskid.
No, it's very interesting. But you're no different than, really, like we joked about sports fans before. Somebody who
yeah.
fucking gets angry that their team lost, or somebody's saying something bad about their team and gets a fight in a alley outside the stadium, and that shit's every fucking day. You know
Well,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
and well, that's the thing, because it's I guess I brought that up because that's just kind of what's been on my mind to an extent lately. But first of all, I'm not going to get into a fist fight over freaking Kingdom Hearts or whatever, But it's I do think I lost my train of thought.
Well, you strike me
that's
more
the
as
other thing.
you strike me as more as the mental barb kind of way. No offense, Mike. You don't strike me as a fist fight type. Though you did take Taekwondo.
I mean,
I give you that
He
credit.
should try. It's cathartic.
It is. You should beat something. I don't mean.
I would be
meat.
so willing to get physical with Redneck. What?
No.
What?
What? You don't want to do that.
Preferably something
That
not
motherfucker
living.
choked the shit out of you. It's not a good idea.
Well, from
No,
what
he-
chat said, it would
uh,
probably be enjoyable.
Yeah, well, yeah, it would be enjoyable. It'd be cathartic. I like catharticism. So puppies, if you want
just beating your own meat, I mean that works.
oh my God, what? So puppies,
What?
if you want
I
to
didn't
jump
say
in here, just jump into the voice chat, and I'll drag you in if you'd like to be a member of this Discuss Your Flaws session. We've done quite a bit. There's 5 people in here. Mike, give us one more of your
That's
flaws.
fun.
Tell me one of your flaws.
That I'm indecisive to the point that I can't think of something really quickly.
That's fair. It's an actual flaw, right? You don't like that kind of pressure. Like that's a flaw, right? But do you think, guys, that flaws can be overcome? And I'm sorry I interrupted you, Mike. My bad.
No, it's fine. I was just gonna say a better flaw that would be to talk about would be how you brought this up in one of your movies. You're talking about a guy who was like, you're heavy, but you're light on your feet, or sort of the thing, like the contradictory thing. I feel like that's me because, like, I love to like perform, but oh my God, I'm shaking right now as we speak.
Well, if it makes you feel better, because I'm older than everybody here. I'm going to say something really profound, aka this is where the narcissist in me kicks in, because I'll think it's profound even if you don't. That's a joke. Now I'm hurt secretly because nobody laughed. Right, we'll just keep going with this. Thank you. I'll take it. I'll lie to myself that was real laughter. Is that not everybody, a large majority of people who perform in any way, shape, or form feel that way. I have massive anxiety before I do this podcast, and then the second I'm doing it, I feel like I'm at home. But beforehand, or even during, sometimes this thing kicks in. And it's just practice. Just the more you do it, the more you overcome that flaw. But even then, some performers never get rid of it. There are stage performers who are famous that they throw up before every show. There are UFC fighters for years and years. Cowboy Cerrone was one of them. He's a very big star. Would have to walk out to the octagon like 20 times before a fight, before anybody was in the stadium, just to get over the nerves of being there. He's one of the best in the world. And that's just normal. And part of that is like creative energy, like building up like a dam and then exploding into what you need to do. And that's okay. And once you get comfortable with that feeling of uncomfortability, it gets a lot easier. But it takes time. You know what I'm saying? And it takes a lot of practice, and it takes a lot of putting yourself in that uncomfortable position. So I'm glad you jumped in here. I'm glad you did your other thing. And that's not as much as a flaw as it is a normal thing that you go through. And part of growing is realizing or seeing other people or experiencing other people who say, hey, I go through the same thing and it's not necessarily bad. It's, I'm going to quote myself, it's part of your process. Okay,
Absolutely.
I think so. So anyway, Puppies is here. Who's David? I hope you don't mind you saying your real name.
Of course not.
Thank you. So David is former EMT and now an entrepreneur. David, tell us some of your flaws here.
So, okay, I guess this is mostly a self-analysis plus analysis from other people.
It's more of a harassment, actually, back and forth. Really, you've missed the first part of this, right?
It could be. You could consider it a self-harassment.
That's fair enough.
No, I mean, I've come off to other people as arrogant before. I could see why that would be sometimes, right? I don't consider myself arrogant, but I do come off like that sometimes. As for myself goes, I am very impatient. When it comes to things, I'm very, very, very impatient. Not with everything, but with the things I really want to happen, I'm just really impatient. It's not a good thing, right? Because you tend to rush things, or you to make impulse decisions or whatever, right? So and usually I'm a person that thinks that you should never act on impulse. You should always act logically, even though that's not really ideal, but whatever. So those are kind of two of the bigger flaws that I have. I mean, there's other little things here and there, but those are kind of my two biggest ones.
We talked about this before. Like I'm also very impulsive sometimes, and also very logical, and I sort of oscillate between the two. And I think that both are flaws and both are strengths, right? Redneck, what do you think? Is that a flaw or a strength? Being impulsive or being too logical, actually?
I think mostly a strength to be logical, because I think that that allows you to gauge like a proper perspective on situations and things like that. I think being logical is very important.
But what about moments where like I want to call it like instinctual nature is better? Sometimes like making a not rash. It's only rash if you have to see the doctor, right? But rash decision, like where it's actually just trust your instincts. Like sometimes the best answer is the first answer. What do you think about that broken pigeon?
What's her name? Candy?
Wait,
Yeah.
what was the question?
Fuck you for not listening to my bullshit
No,
babbling.
I'm
Fuck
so
you.
sorry. I just spilled nail polish on
yeah,
myself.
okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, your one of your flaws is exposed. It's the same as mine. You don't fucking listen.
I was listening.
You
I
don't
spilled nail
fucking
polish.
listen.
That's one of my flaws.
So-
I'm obsessed with my hands.
All right,
I'm obsessed with my hands.
you've just flawed yourself out of this conversation. I'm just kidding. You're the best, right? Okay, let's go over to Steve, Plastic Savior. Steve,
Sir.
I don't know, like nobody who's listening to this will be like, "What the fuck is a plastic savior?" I'm like, I don't know either. But
Okay, that was a complete and total fail at a social commentary, and unfortunately, I have yet to figure out how to change it on.
I thought you were just like into recycling.
No.
Who cares about the environment?
I
That's
am
what
into
it is.
Then you
plastic
laugh. You're like,
bottles
"Oh
and
no, let it die." Sorry, please continue. So,
shit. Let it decompose out in the yard.
so, but we're going back to being rash or not being rash.
Right.
What's better, to be an extremely highly logical person in everything you do, or to be a very impulsive person, or is it a mixture in between?
That's a double-edged sword yet again. At least the way I see it. To be rash, in some cases, it can lead to a good decision
Mm-hmm.
or action. If you are overly logical and cautious, you can miss out on opportunities.
Right. Fair enough. So, okay, let's give you a scenario for that. David, we'll go back to you on this one. There's a house for sale, right?
Mm-hmm.
It costs $10,000, but you know that this house could be worth $80,000, but you got to come up with that $10,000 today.
Okay.
What do you do?
I definitely try to come up with the 80,000 or the 10,000 today. That doesn't seem like a very
Okay.
good decision.
Fair enough. So let's make a little change. Parameters. It's you think it's worth 40,000, but you're not sure, and there's
Okay.
risk in that. Whereas like you could put your 10 and it could be worth 5, or you could put your 10 and it could be worth 40. Now I'm just describing like a gambler's mentality, which is me. But let's get to you. What do? Do you risk the 10, knowing that you get maybe 4 times back, or you could be halved?
It depends on the amount of research I can do in the short period of time that I have. So I usually always go for the logical approach if I can, right? Even if I have little time. If at the end the risk kind of, defeats the benefit, then I won't go for it. Or if the research isn't enough and I'm not happy with what I know, I probably won't do it. So I personally don't have a gambler's mentality. But then again, it also depends on situation. Honestly, if I had a shit ton of money and I just wanted to almost treat it as a game, I would do it too.
So
it just depends on a lot of situations.
there was an 80s movie called Risky Business. Tom Cruise was one of his first movies. Who's seen Risky Business here? Anybody?
I
Pretty
feel
much
like
everybody.
everyone's kind of seen
Whoa, really? Fuck
Probably.
yeah. You're all children of the 80s. Not really.
Honestly, what is risky business?
It's risky
What is
business.
that a movie?
Sex with a woman on a train. It's prostitute. It's a thing. So,
Freaking legs
dun,
from-
dun, 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 dun. But one of the sentences from that movie that was like really touched a nerve with everybody in the society was, sometimes you just gotta say, "What the fuck," right? And
Or
it meant
fuck it.
like just fuck it or whatever. I think it's "What the fuck," wasn't it? Maybe it's "fuck it."
It was.
What the fuck? So what the fuck? And it was delivered by Booger of Revenge of the Nerds. We covered that in another episode. So, and the idea was, here's a guy who was too tightly wound, and he was so tightly wound and so logical about everything. His life was so planned out that he felt like such a need to break out of that, what he considered flawed, because he was too far in one direction. Do you feel like you're too logical sometimes? That's you, David, because you're the logical one.
me?
Yeah, you're logical.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
So if I said to you,
I am.
let's go on a fucking Coke binge to Vegas next weekend,
Oh, fuck
are you
no.
interested? I'm not interested either. I just want to say it. Okay, I want to present, and I'd like to say hello to Jacko Mac, because I like his name and he's in the chat room. right? Jack O'Mac is an old-time fan of my old shows. Welcome, dude, to the Jeskidding podcast thing. If you want to jump in here for a second, somebody in the chat room can help you. I don't know what it won't really help you in life, but it may help you in this moment to talk to us.
Is that a fire truck or?
It might be a fire truck. That's one of my fucking flaws is that I live next to a street. That's a flaw. No, it's actually a good thing because people can hear me scream. Okay, so let's go to Broken Pigeon about risk management, right? So I'm going to describe a scenario to you, and I'm not saying people follow this scenario or do this thing, right? But you work at a restaurant, right? Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
I work in a cafe, yeah.
In a cafe. Oh,
Yeah.
upscale, right?
Mostly coffee.
You're what? You're a barista.
Kind of.
Okay. So, if you get your paycheck and there's a super good deal, like incredible, on pot brownies, right? Like you've never come across something like this before, right? And somebody's like, "Hey, barista lady," right?
Not creepy at all.
Barastafarian, right?
God.
Do you want these fucking pot brownies? And you know the person, so it's not like maybe you know them kind of, but you know that they got great shit, right? And you're like, yeah, but you won't be able to pay next week's bills. I'm not talking rent. I'm talking about like Netflix, internet, right? Everything's gonna be late, and you may have to call the company and see if they'll turn it back on if they decide to cut you off. But this is like, yo, these fucking brownies are good.
No, I would not do it.
Wow, you're much less flawed about being impulsive than I am. I'd be fucking no, I wouldn't.
Your
When
delivery
it
on
comes
that.
to my bills,
Ooh,
I'm
look at you.
very impulsive about it. I will always pay my bills first.
You're very logical about it. You're very logical.
When it comes to that, but
Mm.
that is one of my flaws is impulsive buying.
No.
Like,
Impulse
I'm
buy.
supposed to be saving for a trip. I'm supposed to be saving for my trip to
Mhm.
move. And I got a kind of big paycheck, about like $80 extra, because I work
Congratulations.
overtime.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. It made me excited. And I was like, I'm going to buy some stuff for some people because they deserve some presents. And one of them has a birthday coming, so I might as well. And I ended up buying like $100 worth of things. I was like, it's fine.
It's fine.
I'm
It's
just
fine. Yeah.
going to be eating chips and applesauce for lunch. I don't mind that.
So would you
but,
say one of your flaws, which I share, is you self-justify everything? Yeah, I justify everything.
Oh, yeah.
Everything. I have a justification for everything. It's fine because it's fine. It's fine.
If I have extra money and I'm like,
It's fine.
I can buy stuff because it's not for me, it's for someone else, so it'll make them happy, so it's okay.
Oh yeah, it's fine. Obviously, if you're buying something for others, it's not even you can't afford it. Doesn't matter. It's for somebody else. You're doing a good thing. I believe that. I'm gonna drag Jerry into the chat room. Jerry is it just got.
I got him in.
No, Jerry is Enigma Twitch on the thing. Jerry is the most methodical planning person I've known him almost my whole life I've ever met. Jerry, welcome to the stream. Can you hear me? Jerry, your mic is not working. You may have to set up your audio and video parameters if you wanted to talk in here. His mic is off. So.
He's just
Hello?
muted at the
Oh, there you go,
There
Jerry.
you go.
There you go. Welcome
Sorry.
to the stream, Jerry. So, Jerry, tell me, what are some of your flaws, my dude, and how are you?
I'm doing fine. I guess one of my flaws is I'm a perfectionist, or I try to be a perfectionist, and then sometimes I try to expect perfection from other people, and I'm working really hard to control my own perfection and not allow it to bleed into other people.
Oh, that's smart.
that makes sense.
No, it's smart, and it's very good, especially if you're a parent or one of those things, because nobody's perfect, right?
Right.
And do you feel
Right.
that sometimes your own sense of perfectionism, do you recognize that sometimes it can be outside of numbers themselves, subjective?
Not necessarily. It's more of like when I'm doing something and I need to make sure that it's like perfect or it's done the way it's supposed to be, and then when it isn't done that way, I'm too hard on myself. So like I beat myself up, and then I go mentally overdrives to make sure that it won't happen again.
No, I
But-
mean, it's a tough thing to live with, right? It is.
Yeah.
Because I'm the same way. I seem like a guy very impulsive, snap, but there are certain things that I'm incredibly a perfectionist about. like these podcasts, the streams, if everything isn't right, I go fucking crazy. Like if I switch between cameras and there's an extra frame in between the cameras when they switch, it bothers me. Like I get a little OCD about weird things. That's a flaw of mine. I'm like a very OCD personality about very particular things, and then other things, it's like who gives a shit? I don't care if I haven't picked up that pile of clothes in 2 months or 200 years. I don't care. And then I'm like, oh, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, those clothes, I gotta clean them for 75 hours. It's so fucking weird. Like it's like an on-off switch of oh my god, I haven't changed my underwear in 17 days. That's a joke.
Oh my god.
That's a joke. How dare you?
I actually believe that one.
I know you do. I know you do.
He's got 1,000 hours on Lucio. Yes, I believe it.
What? How dare you? How dare you?
Who can
Boop in another
play
way.
that character for that long and wear underwear, like new underwear every day?
Yeah, well, you know, according to you, you'd soil yourself every day if you played that character that long. We're talking about a video game, those that are listening, guys. It's one of those references. Apparently, one of our flaws is not recognizing when other people don't understand what we're talking about. That's not a flaw
Out
of
of
mine.
context.
I'm very conscious.
What are we talking about?
What are we talking about? What? We're talking about a video game, bro.
I know.
Oh, you're just being a dick.
Joke.
That's one of your, one of your.
I'm sitting here playing with Hot Wheels cars, so I mean.
That's fair. I love Hot Wheels cars. So I don't know how we sum up this podcast. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I was worried about having more than 3 people on the stream. Now I've got 8. And I kind of like it. I like this round table thing. So part of me says, even though I listed all those flaws earlier on, that a lot of the flaws that I listed are strengths as well. And we talked about that. You know, I kind of think that living in the moment, living organically, there's a lot of benefits to it, right? And this is one of those moments where this is completely out of plan, but kind of wonderful at the same time. So discovery through process is huge, right? And it's not possible with some of my over-planning, over-analyzing, don't want to let go, control too much things. But at the same time, no process, broken pigeon, no process, right? It's bad too. That's a joke. I don't really know if you have no process. I just like to make fun of you because
I can go with the flow, whatever.
apparently, maybe I'm. And then I'm gonna get off this podcast. I'm like, am I sexist? Because there's only one woman in here, and I'm picking on her.
Oh no.
Hashtag you too.
To pick
Oh my
on.
god, I said that. I can't say that either. And then I can't. And it's like a fucking endless loop of like self-criticism. And then Jess cancels his fucking show. Would you guys be? Would you be sad?
I would be so
You'd be sad?
freaking
It's not
Tell-
sexist if only one female just shows up willing to open herself up. If no one else
Whoa,
does
Jerry, what are we
then-
talking about? Whoa, bro.
Plastic knows
You
me better
crossing
than any
lines,
of y'all.
bro.
It's okay.
Crossing lines.
I'm
You don't
just
even
saying,
realize
I'm
the
just-
context. No, I'm just joking.
I don't know if I should chime in on that one or not.
Shut up, man.
I ain't saying shit.
God.
I'd like really quickly, OC Diva, can you jump in the channel if you don't mind? OC Diva,
So that
if you're
broken
still
pigeons
around.
is in the load.
And how are you, Neil? Not even touching it. Nope. Jerry's making sexual innuendos. The world has come to a fucking halt. Everything.
I've been behaving.
I know
I'm
we're
just
bringing
saying.
another woman here to balance it out. There's just the ratio's no good. I don't like it.
But would you bring her in if it wasn't for the fact that you were so like, there's only one woman here. What do people think I'm sexist? Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
True.
But now there's 2 women, so that question will never get answered, Mike. Ladies and gentlemen,
Well,
OC Diva joining the 9-person fucking group therapy / sexual innuendo / control not control room. How are you, OC Diva?
So it's a Thursday night, is what you're
Thursday night
Yeah.
here on Jeskid
Hey.
Stream. We're
Hey.
talking about flaws. So do you think we've made any progress in any of the podcasting you've seen? Have we discovered some of our flaws? Have we gotten over anything?
saying?
Probably
See,
not.
You left out one of your flaws that you ask 500 questions within a span of.
Oh,
I can't remember what the
shit.
point was.
He's a shotgun.
Yeah, I'm a shotgun of questions. I just ask whatever. Like, there's a lot of pellets. Choose your pellet.
That's
Okay.
actually so true. Because I do the podcast with him every week, and he'll touch on like 3 or 4 different things. He says, "So what do you think about that? What do I think about what?"
Any of that. Any
That
of
is
that.
such a Jesse thing, though.
Any of, even though I don't fucking listen to you, asshole, doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to comprehend my thing like it was a dissertation at a fucking
Don't
college.
talk to Dosick like that, man. He's a nice guy.
Yeah,
So-
he's a, what? Yes, what?
It's hard to listen to an asshole and responses.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
But that's
Can I
what
get a
assholes
transcript
say,
of that?
right?
Thank God I'm wearing my fucking bulletproof jest. Oh, see, I did that. Put my name in it.
Wow.
Ah! Oh God.
Okay,
Proud of
so
you, Jesse.
Oh God,
Proud
I've
of you.
entangled my mic. One of my flaws is I'm equipmentally challenged, apparently.
Oh,
This
now
is
you've done it, fucked it up.
I've done fucked everything up. So I think that we need to do like a podcast at one point, like teaching men how to talk to women and have like them do exercises or something.
Oh,
I need to be
dear.
part of that.
You need to be
Exactly
part of
who
that.
do you think you're going to be inviting to that podcast?
Yo, you'll be here. Don't worry about it.
Oh
You-
God.
and you can,
Do
you
we
can-
all need that?
Oh,
I don't think we
God.
all need
Maybe,
that.
maybe.
I mean, the way you start with that is, why are you out of the kitchen?
Whoa. Okay.
What, me?
Oh boy.
Who said
Because I
that?
ran out of mac and cheese.
Who said that? Who said that? I missed that. I missed it.
That was Mike.
Oh,
Jack-
Mike. Mike, who's afraid of
Man.
performing.
Man.
Went right
No,
to
it
the-
was-
No,
He's like,
no, no,
"Woo."
no, no.
Oh, that wasn't
It
Mike?
was I, the jackal.
Oh,
Oh, Jackovac, dude. How are you, bro?
well,
How are you, Jack?
Jesus
So, Jack.
Christ.
Oh my God. So one of my flaws is falsely accusing people. Apparently, right? 'Cause we all do.
It's true.
All right, Jack. Quickly, tell us two of your flaws. You get two. So what are two of your flaws?
Depending on the situation, lack of motivation.
Ooh.
mm,
As in, somehow fitness isn't a problem, but like art, I can't sit down and do it for the life of me.
Like you want to do it though? You desire to do art?
I desire to do it. I'm good at it, but I just don't.
Are you afraid of it?
Not really. It's just I got kind of sick of it because I got burned out at my last job,
Ah, what was your last
and
job?
then I haven't. It's just a crappy art job.
Well, I think we've all, many people in this room have had crappy art jobs, so I think we can really relate to what you're saying and have all been burnt out by them as well. Would you agree with that, Mike, OC Diva? You were in the Air Force, Steve, so that's an art job, right?
depends
Yeah,
on your
starts with the letter
classification.
Super close.
Yeah, it's close enough. And
I wouldn't know. I was security forces, so all
yeah,
I did
it's
was
security.
stand
The
still for
art
18
of
hours.
security. That's a fucking thing. But I can understand that everybody gets burnt out in the arts. That's not isolated to you. We all get fucked up because A, it's really hard to pull something out of yourself and share it with other people. And illegal in some states, and then B, it's just terrible when people are terrible. You know what
I mean, I can add
Another
on to that
flaw
about
of
the
mine-
motivation. Real
Oh.
quick, hold on. Sorry about that.
Steve,
Is
go
that for me? I because of my aforementioned down, I had developed an extreme motivation problem, like to the point where it became also a hygiene problem. It's a little embarrassing to admit, but
No, that's cool.
what depression does to you.
Yeah, whatever.
I stopped drawing. I stopped painting. I actually got to the point where I even stopped playing video games. I just didn't feel motivated to play anything.
You were depressed, yeah.
Oh, severely. I would just sleep. So, thankfully, I got in touch with, through the VA, thankfully, someone to help me. And yes, I'm on medications. It's something I didn't want to do because I personally thought that was I thought that was a flaw. A person who has to rely on medications to carry out their day means they failed at self-regulating.
Mm-mm-mm.
Now, that's gone. I don't see it that way. I am thankful that I'm on my meds, and it definitely helps me out because in the last year, the number of models I've built, Dungeons and Dragons miniatures I've painted, other things that I've created, has skyrocketed. My motivation to create has skyrocketed because I'm currently on good meds, and I've been able to find groups of people, this one included right now, as a way of fixing slowly my problems, like my social anxiety. Now, granted, I still have my physical social anxiety of going outside and meeting people in public, but here, in this kind of context, this is comfortable to me.
That's awesome.
I like this.
And
So-
one of the flaws we have as a this is a cultural flaw. This is not a personal flaw. One of the flaws we have as a culture is not allowing people to need help, or not allowing people to seek help. Having a like an unfair version of what strength is. Sometimes strength is seeking help. You know.
On top of that,
Mhm.
you've got that old saying, "Man up."
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
You
That's
know how
it's
how
terrible.
many men actually die from things like prostate cancer or colon cancer
Absolutely.
or other things because they don't go to see a doctor
Right. No, it's
because
true.
they're like, no, I'm just going to man up. I'm just going to take some ibuprofen and walk it off.
Well, listen, I'm a not a mama's boy, but I was raised by my mother, so I'm a
Yeah.
really sensitive person. Not
See,
be-
that's a straight.
but I think so
that's
too.
strong.
But it took me many years to do it because inside me, I also have the conflict of needing to be a man, needing to say I never cry, needing to be strong, to be tough
Yeah.
in all situations. And there are moments where that's very good for me. But there are moments where that's extremely negative because we've destroyed men in our culture, America especially, by telling them that any weakness is any show of vulnerability is weakness. When a lot of times showing of vulnerability is just pure strength because it's embracing the fact that you're human. But
Any kind of emotion makes you a sissy.
Right, and it's just total bullshit. So like it's a factory-fed image, but for a reason is because men needed to be strong to go do things, but that came at the cost of who burped there? That was hilarious, right? So you see Diva? Fuck you guys. Right. So anyway, let's moving on from this thing, right? But the point is, dude, I'm glad you shared that. Thank you so much, Steve, and I'm happy that you're fucking being awesome by embracing your flaws, and that's part of this conversation is embracing your flaws in a way that turns them into strengths. And that's part of this too. So we made a lot of jokes about it, but flaws can become assets when either
Absolutely.
dealt with, laughed with others about to lighten the severity of those flaws, or used as strengths themselves. Some are really, really good. So Jack, we had interrupted you, one of my flaws, but I did not commit it this time.
Yeah, you did.
Well, it was
No,
not
that
me.
was me.
It was not me.
That was
for
me.
once. Jack, please tell us your second flaw of flaws.
Ridiculously good looking.
Ridiculously good looking.
Yeah.
Listen,
So
Jack,
subpar
So-
jokes.
Jack,
So is that narcissism? Is that
hold on.
one?
Have you met Broken Pigeon? Because
Hello.
our second room narcissist. Maybe the two of you could get together and have like mirrors next to each other that you could stare at yourselves.
Cockatiels?
But I'm a closet narcissist, so
Well, you could put your mirror. in
I
the
was
closet.
going to say something else, but then I got it.
You got sidetracked. You were one of your
No, you
flaws is
forgot it.
you totally forgot. You don't work in tangents. So, so
Think of it in a
Around.
second.
So what is my flaw? I'm going to end this thing in a second because one of my flaws is going on too long. And all of you know this to be true. You're just like, shut the fuck up.
but it's great.
Oh, thank you so much. That's my other flaw is just needing to hear your attention and your love at all
One
times.
of her flaws, she lies too much.
We love you, Jeskid.
Oh, yeah. I love you too, guys. So this has been amazing. It's an amazing conversation. I don't want to end this with some big, profound speech because one of my flaws is needing to end things with big, profound speech.
But they're great clips.
You're right, they are
Just
clips.
turn the off button.
No.
fantastic.
This has been
I'm
amazing.
trying to think of the other thing that I was going to say before I kept thinking of Zoolander.
Things to say.
Well, you got this is your moment, bro. You want it. You're never gonna let it go. Oh, Jack O'Mac.
Oh, I mean, depends on who you ask. This is a flaw. Fit with like a flaw, but like I have a real difficult time breaking the ice with women
Interesting.
in IRL.
Oh yeah.
See,
Interesting.
that's why we need to do that podcast.
Are they usually underwater, freezing to death when you're trying to do this? Like, do they
You
need
could not.
saving?
Breaking the ice.
Do they need saving?
That would be an interesting podcast, honestly.
How to talk to women? We could do it.
No, just I mean, you
Breaking
could
ice?
probably like that, or you can just say social interactions in general. But yeah,
Social,
I don't have problem with social interaction. It's just the whole
the start. The
or do you want to zone in the whole like
just
basically
getting
men and women kind of thing?
because years ago, I had a little bit more social anxiety or whatever, just talking to random strangers, and I specifically gave myself 30 days. Every day I'm going to talk to a stranger, as in like someone says something stupid or something happens and we both see it and we're in the elevator and then I make a comment to a stranger. Because it used to be a problem where it's like, what if they think I'm stupid for saying that? You
That's
know?
a good challenge, though.
But I got over. I just haven't gotten over the talking to that cute person over there or whatever. Who knows?
Well, there's nothing wrong with feeling that way, and a healthy fear of rejection and a healthy fear of what somebody will think of you. That's normal. Everybody goes through that. Everybody's worried. The people who don't worry about what other people think of them are serial killers. Right? You know what I mean?
Jesus
Yeah.
No,
Christ.
it's true. It's like they have nothing in them that doesn't sort of say, "Oh, I hope I said the right thing," or, it's okay to be confident, right? But if you're competent without empathy, you're fucking crazy, right? So, but one of my flaws is obviously stereotyping and labeling people.
Yeah, honestly, it's okay for you to have a little bit of a fear or anxiety to talk to somebody else, even and more specifically to women, right? I think I would say probably 80% of men have that. The other 20% are the ones that are super confident and go there, and sometimes they don't really have the best personality, anyways.
Right.
2% of them are Johnny Bravo.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I don't think you have to worry about it. As long as you're doing something about it, which seems like you are, I think you're in the right place. And plus, so the only point that I wanted to make about the actual topic too is that I think the two biggest flaws that you could have is either thinking that you have no flaws or thinking you have too many.
Interesting.
Because other than that, you could probably fix whatever flaws that you can think of, right?
That's an amazing comment.
I think that was really well said,
That's
actually.
so insightful.
Clipped.
I'm actually going to end the podcast on your comment. Amazing.
Wow, I feel special.